Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Krister Persson, and I run the StarGeek YouTube channel, as well as build Ewoks, yes. And basically, I started a couple years ago for many different reasons, which I'll get into in a minute. But before we really get into the process of how I make videos, I want to show you a quick, short little video that I made a few months ago before The Force Awakens came out, so you have an understanding of what I'm going to be talking about today. So, really quickly, I'm going to pull that up, and then we'll get on with the talk, and I'm going to have a Q&A session, a short Q&A session, in between talking about the Ewok and talking about the channel. So, thank you all for coming. This is going to be a lot of fun. All right. So, that was just a short video that I arranged just before The Force Awakens was coming out, kind of comparing the similarities between what we had in the trailers from A New Hope and what we had from The Force Awakens. So I hope you enjoyed that. That was just a quick little teaser about what we're going to be talking about today. So I created the StarGeek YouTube channel, which basically, it started out with nothing in early 2014, and it's now grown to 61,000 subscribers. And it's been amazing to see the growth and the community surrounding the channel and the Star Wars community. It's been really amazing. And so I want to talk about that and then get into Ewoks a little bit later. So yeah, the channel is basically, if you have any of you heard of the StarGeek channel or have seen any of it? Awesome. How long have you been subscribed? Oh, awesome.
I've been watching your videos like a couple months after your channel's creation.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for watching. It's been super fun, and the fans are really, or the subscribers are really what have kept it alive. So thank you so much for supporting the channel. Yeah, so why did I start doing YouTube in the first place? A long time ago, before middle school even, I think it was late elementary school, my dad and I needed a channel to post our Lego stop-motion animations to. And so we created a channel called KP Productions USA. KP for Krister Persson Productions USA, because KP Productions already existed, so we needed USA at the end. And that channel over time kind of became a gaming channel, and I wasn't happy with it, and it only reached like 100 subscribers, so it wasn't really going anywhere. And I wanted to start something that I was really passionate about and really interested in, and that was the Star Wars YouTube channel that I ended up calling StarGeek. And that was created on March 15th, 2014, right after I had gotten the computer and the microphone and everything that I needed, the editing software, to start a brand new channel. And I kind of really just wanted to connect with the Star Wars community and the community on YouTube, not really expecting to get anywhere big, but surprisingly the channel blew up after The Force Awakens really was being pushed, because in the very beginning it was a slow growth of the first year. I think I racked to 2,500 subscribers, and then by the second year I was at 58,000. Which was insane, mostly because of The Force Awakens and the popularity and the extreme excitement surrounding that. It helped grow the channel. But no, it was really cool to see the subscribers interacting and all of the community around the channel and the films. So that's been great. I have lots of types of videos. I'm sure you guys have already seen Factor Beam, which was the first series I ever created, which basically just talks about the Star Wars characters and 5 facts about each of them. And that was my very first series, and it ended up being pretty popular, pretty well liked, that I knew that I could carry that on. And then the other main series that the channel is built on is Top 10 videos, which everyone's seen a Top 10 video or has a list of things that they like, and it's basically just giving you my list of what I think are the best or the worst in the Star Wars universe under a certain category. And then I have other things like reviews. I review movies and comic books sometimes, like my Marvel series that I started recently, and nitpicking is a new series I've kind of picked up on. And there's much more. But those are really the main videos that I focus on the channel. It's really anything that interests me in the universe or in the community that I want to talk about. So collaborations I want to quickly discuss, because collaborations with other people in the community, having this channel allowed me to meet tons of new YouTubers or big personalities in the Star Wars community, and joining a collecting group, Sarlacc, Seattle Area Lucasfilm Artifact Collectors Club, also opened up a bunch of doors, which also led to the building of the Ewok here, and part of the Ewok Builders Club. But collaborating with channels like Star Wars Explained and Hello Greedo and Dash Star, Chris Perillo, all these big channels and podcasts like the Super Awesome Geek Show or Toy Run or the Galaxy of Toys podcast, the cross promotion there helped grow the channels and the podcasts and things like that. But it also just got us really connected with the community, which was really fun to see how passionate the Star Wars community is, and how open and welcoming everyone is to new members in the YouTube community, online, and it's just great to communicate with them, and especially with the subscribers in the comments and everything that they promote or talk about the videos. It's a lot of fun. So yeah, that's mainly why I started doing YouTube. I have one of my videos, but I think I'm gonna hold that back until after I talk about the process here, just so you understand how it's made. And then there will be a video that you guys can watch really quick, and then I'll get into Q&A and Ewok after that. But I want to talk about the process that goes into making a video. So most videos, they start with a script, they go to audio recording, editing, exporting, and then uploading, are really the 5 main steps that go into each video. But before you do any of that, you have to come up with a concept for a video. You have to have an idea that you really want to talk about and discuss on a video. So coming up with a concept can either be really difficult or really fun when the community and the subscribers give you ideas. Most of my videos are taken from fan suggestions, and then I adapt them to fit what I think might work well in a really nice video, and just kind of create that over the editing process and things like that. But yeah, without the fans, the channel would be completely different. So a lot of the videos are based off of what the subscribers want. So after you have a really good concept and you're passionate about this topic, you have to write a script. Because even if it's just an outline of what you want to talk about, it's important to have a well-structured, thought-out video in mind before you just start editing and recording audio. So you need to make sure that you have a script and you do your research. You don't want to get facts wrong. If you're telling people misinformation, they're not going to be really happy. So you want to make sure that you know your stuff, and you double check on all that. So research and script writing are really important, and they're really time consuming too. You wouldn't expect it, but script writing can take anywhere from a few hours if it's a really short video with a simple concept, to a few days if you're really getting involved in the topic and you want to make sure you get your research right. So yeah, it's a really difficult thing to tell how long it's going to take to write a script, which can sometimes push the video further back than you want. Right now I'm working on a top 10 video, and the script is really the most difficult part, because you have to make sure you get all the points right. So once you're done with the script, it goes into audio recording, which doesn't sound that difficult, but it's probably my least favorite step in the entire process, just because all of the takes that you have to do. When you watch a video, no one does it in one long take. If it's a 7-minute video, there's no way that they can just record themselves for a whole script without flubbing a line or using the wrong intonation or pronouncing a word wrong. So each little segment of audio that you hear is usually recorded on its own and then just strung together to make it seem seamless, as if we're talking just in one long conversation throughout the video. So audio recording can take hours. For a few minutes of what you get in the end product ends up being like 3 or 4 hours of recording audio, and it gets really just sitting up in one place and sitting down for 3 hours straight to record audio into a microphone. It gets really tiring, and it doesn't always produce the best content. So you want to make sure that you have like a clear mind and you're ready to go into audio recording, because it can really drain you. But so for audio recording, I use this Blue Yeti microphone. I'm actually recording right now for a possible video. I might put this up on the channel if you guys want to look back on it. But I use this Blue Yeti microphone, which is really nice for studio quality recording. And you basically just go line by line into the microphone until you mess up, and then you cut it there and start recording again off of that. But super high quality, and it's got a nice pop filter too, which is important when you say P's or T's. It makes the little airy sound, and that can really sound. It sounds like you're blowing into the microphone. So what the pop filter does is it basically filters out that sound. So do any of you have YouTube channels? Yeah. Are you producing content or hoping to?
I literally started like a month ago. I have no idea what I'm doing.
That's awesome. So yeah, this should help a little bit with that. And you?
I've had Mag for about 3 years.
Awesome. That's really cool. Over time, once you get through each of these steps, it grows, it picks up. Producing content regularly is probably the most important thing that you can do. If you have a schedule or you produce at a steady stream, that's really all that you need to grow over time. If you wait too long on a video, subscribers start to forget about you. They will disconnect completely, and you don't want that to happen. So just make sure that you're producing regular content or content that you really enjoy. If you only can produce, because I have school too, and so trying to get a whole video out, which can take 15 hours or 20 hours, and then along with all the homework and the school and hanging out with friends and things like that, it makes it really difficult to kind of budget your time. So you have to make sure that you know how to spread out what you need what you need to do for the day before you just go straight into editing or audio recording. But yeah, so Blue Yeti microphone. If you want a microphone, this one is it's pretty cheap. I think it's $100, which sounds like a lot, but for this quality of a microphone, it's I think it's a pretty cheap price for a good microphone. So that's the Blue Yeti. Once you finish audio recording, it goes into the editing process. And to edit, I use Final Cut Pro 10, which is a $300 editing software for Mac, but you can get it on PC too. And Final Cut Pro 10 allows you to do so much. If you've ever edited on iMovie or Windows Movie Maker or something like that, it's basically the most professional amateur editing software that you can find. And if you go from iMovie into Final Cut Pro 10, you learn really, really quickly. So it's a really great way to learn how to quickly edit videos. And it's a high quality editing software which allows you to do things like keyframing and just matching clips and adding text, which is really important. It's simple stuff that people don't really think about, but Final Cut Pro does it in a way, or it opens a door that allows you to basically look really professional and do it really quickly too, which is very, very nice. But keyframe, so the people who know the channel, Gary the Gonk Droid, the channel mascot, it's basically a Gonk Droid and he does little shenanigans and stuff. But Gary the Gonk Droid is all done through keyframing, where I basically take a keyframe, I place an anchor on Gary, and then I move him across the screen and place another anchor, and then Final Cut Pro will take that and make it into a smooth transition of him moving across the screen. And every time you see him jump, I do anchor, 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 and it basically is like stop motion animation on the editing software. So keyframing is good to know if you want to do any crude animation. But yeah, that's basically, there's a lot I could talk about editing. I have a whole video on the process that I go into to make videos. It was the 100th episode special. So if you want to look at that, that's on the channel. But that's basically the editing process. That can take 15 hours maybe if you're doing a 7-minute video. If you're doing a 30-minute video, it can take you like 3 days and maybe 30 or 40 hours of editing, just editing alone. So it's a much longer process than it may seem. So once you're basically done with your editing and you think it looks like a final finished product that you're happy to release into the public, you export it. And the thing about Final Cut Pro is it can take minutes to export, but it'll take your project and it'll make it like a 9 gigabyte file, which is huge, especially when you're uploading it into YouTube, which takes hours to upload gigabyte-sized files. I think the biggest video file I ever had was maybe 40 gigabytes, and uploading a 40 gigabyte file was going to take days. So if you are going to do something like this, a really key tool to have would be a program like Handbrake. And Handbrake basically condenses the files down into like 200 megabytes, from 40 gigabytes to 200 megabytes, without lowering the quality of the actual footage, which is really important. You don't want to lower your quality from a high definition format to a low definition format. You want to keep it very crisp and clean, but you also want to make sure that it doesn't take you 3 days to upload a video. So Handbrake is a really, really great tool to have, which basically transforms gigabyte-sized files into megabyte-sized files. Super helpful. And then thumbnails are probably the most... thumbnails get taken for granted by so many YouTubers who think that thumbnails aren't important. But you know the term, don't judge a book by its cover? Everyone judges a YouTube channel or YouTube video by its thumbnail. So you really need to make sure that you have a poppy thumbnail that really stands out. And all of my thumbnails, I can actually transition really quickly over to show you what my thumbnails look like. They look generally the same, with the same color scheme, and they all have the StarGeek logo or name somewhere on the picture. So these are the very early, from the bottom are the very beginning videos, and as it goes up, they become later into the channel's life. So this is the beginning where everything is yellow and bright, and you can tell who uploaded the video. And then as I go along, I start to do things a little bit more different, a little differently, because I want to make the thumbnails look more unique. But all the series you can tell look the same, because all of these that have the text with Factor Beam on them, you can tell immediately that that's a Factor Beam video. And then you have the top 10 videos, which are easy to find. So making sure that you have clear thumbnails that basically explain what your video is in just a snapshot. It's not a snapshot, is really, really important, and it will really help you when you work on your own videos. So that was just a quick look at thumbnails, which I think get taken for granted so often, but they're really, really important. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is the screen on. It is? Now it's on.
Yeah.
It is? All right. And then last step is just uploading the video to YouTube, which will take maybe an hour, 15 minutes even if you have a small enough file. And you title it, add tags, add a description, and send it off into social media, which is really key. Having social media like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter attached to your YouTube channel where you can promote what you're doing or promote what the videos are uploaded, it really helps to have other platforms that you can communicate with. But basically, once you get it uploaded, you just start talking with the subscribers in the comments and start the process over again. So overall, it probably takes 30 hours to do a long video and maybe 15 to do a normal length video. So what I'm going to show you next, that's basically the entire process that I go through to make a YouTube video. What I'm going to show you next is a video I uploaded a few months ago called Star Wars versus Star Trek, where I talk about the differences between Star Wars and Star Trek, and how they shouldn't really be compared. But I talk about that in the video. So you can look while you're watching the video, try to see the process that I went through that I just explained to you. So right after that, I'll be answering any questions you have, and then we can get into the Ewok. So let me pull up the Star Trek video really quickly, and we'll continue from there. All right, and I hope that this is working now. There we go. All right. It's on now? All right. Enjoy the next 7 minutes. It's 7 minutes. I'll come around, and if you guys want to talk to me in person, I'll just be standing around. So, all right. Thank you. News update if you just click on the thumbnail. So that's basically an example of an average video that I have on the channel. And then I also really quickly want to show you, I'm pretty sure that you guys already know about Gary the Gonk Droid, the ones who've seen it. But this is basically what Gary the Gonk Droid is and how I use keyframes to animate the robot. So this is just an end scene. Each video that I do has a quick little end snippet bit at the end just to kind of reward people who wait through the entire thing. So that's an example of a StarGeek video. That was the Star Wars versus Star Trek video. I uploaded that maybe 2 months ago. Now I'm ready to answer any questions that you have, and then we'll get into the Ewok. So if you have any questions, I'm open. Yeah.
So for a starter YouTuber, do you know like are there any good tips like good like filming equipment or good editing softwares?
You know, I really think you should start with something simple for editing, especially like iMovie or Windows Movie Maker, whatever your computer comes with, and just kind of learn how that works on a basic level, so that if you ever do transfer up, it'll be a smoother transition. There isn't really anything that I can say more than get Final Cut Pro, because that's really it's cheap for what it gives you. And it's a really amazing editing software that's pretty simple and easy to learn. So Final Cut Pro would be the best editing software to go with. For camera equipment, if you want cameras, I don't really do much in the way of actually filming. Right now I'm just using like a little handheld camera, Canon, but you can get, I think I would definitely suggest getting a higher end camera if you're planning on filming exclusively with footage. If you're using footage from films in fair use, then I'd suggest just kind of doing a voiceover, and if you have a camera, quality isn't as important as it may seem. It's really what the content is. So getting a really high quality camera, nowhere near as important as engaging and enjoying what you're doing with the footage or the film or the video that you make. So that's basically what I can say about that. Mm-hmm.
What was your favorite thing at the EMP?
At the EMP? Out of the costumes, when I went to the costume exhibit, or just the EMP in general?
EMP in general.
Ooh. I mean, all the exhibits that they get through are really cool. Oh, that's tough. Right now, I don't know, maybe it's just the guitar sculpture that they have. I mean, that's kind of like the symbol of the EMP. But no, I like when they came in with the Power of Costume exhibit, it was so amazing to see C-3PO and R2-D2 in person, the actual costumes, and Darth Vader, all of the costumes from all the films. No, that was amazing. I mean, my favorite thing I've seen at the EMP is definitely the costume exhibit and meeting Anthony Daniels and Billy D. Williams there. So, no, that's probably what I'd have to say about that. Any other questions? Yeah.
So I'm just curious, for the future, are you thinking like someday film school? Will this always remain a hobby? Is this leading in a direction of what you want to do in the future?
My dream would be to become a film director. So this is I'm hoping that this kind of helps set up a little bit for that. But it's really just a hobby for now. It helps me learn how to edit. It helps me learn how to grow an audience and stuff like that. But it's not going to really help me too much in the actual field that I'm looking of going into with film directing. But yeah, no, it's definitely because I'm so passionate about the movies and the films that I want to become a film director that I made this channel. So yeah, I guess it is kind of leading, hopefully, into something bigger. But right now it's just a hobby. So yeah, thank you.
And eventually I want to do like commentaries and gameplays.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know because I see these YouTubers who just take like a camera and they film their gameplay.
Right.
And it looks really bad.
Yeah.
Do you know how you make that good?
Right, so what I use for screen recording, if I'm ever going to record my screen, would be Camtasia, which is a software that basically it has an editing program with it, built into it, but it also just lets you record screens and then you can plop it into the timeline and edit with it. But all you really need, if you have a Mac, something like QuickTime has a built-in screen recorder. If you have a PC, I don't really know much about the PC software, but I'm sure they have a built-in screen recorder of some kind. But definitely do a screen recorder and then record your audio separately or in the recorder, because most screen recorders come with a way that it films your screen, records the audio of the game, and has a way that you can record the audio of your mic. So the way to go would definitely be Camtasia, but if you have a built-in one, that works too. Yeah. Anything else? All right. I want to talk about Ewok building. So we have a bunch of pictures right here of the build and how it started out. But so if you don't know, the Ewok building process, this is Keeg's Seawalk. He's called Seawalk because what my dad and I were trying to do was to create a completely different type of Ewok by making him kind of nautical themed and giving him shells and things like that, and he has a net. We left one of the shells, I think we have, might be down here actually. Yeah, so he has little accessories that we've built, but we haven't quite finished completely putting everything together, but he has a shell to go around his neck and then a few other little accessories that we're working on to make him a Seawalk, a nautical-themed Ewok, and it helps that we're in Seattle and Seawalk sounds like Seahawk, so we can deck him out in Seahawk gear when there's a game on. But yeah, so Ewok Builders Club is basically how we were able to build this. A few years ago, or a couple years ago, a group of people from the Sarlacc Collectors Group, they were really interested in starting to build life-size characters from the film, and they wanted to do Chewbacca, but it's just so huge, and the yak fur that they needed to make it look accurate was just so expensive that they're like, hey, maybe we start with Ewoks instead. And so a few members of the group kind of founded this small group of Ewok builders, and they started from scratch. We have a friend who actually owns some Ewok heads, so they were able to do dimensions and make it look as accurate as possible. So this is Keeg is a little bit on the big side, but most Ewoks are roughly this size, but we had a bigger frame, a sturdier frame. So the Ewok Builder Club measured out all the measurements that they needed and tried to make it as accurate as possible so that you don't necessarily have to make a character from the movies, but you're making an Ewok that seems like it could come out of the movies. Keeg is he's not built around a character or anything. In fact, I think the only Ewok that we have is actually built around a character is one from the cartoon, Princess Nisa from the 1986 Ewok cartoon, who no one knows about, but we have one of the builders in the club built Princess Nisa. But yeah, the way that he started was you basically take a Hulk mask. In this case, it was like a Red Hulk or Angry Hulk or something, and you cut out big holes for the eyes, and you're gonna use bottle caps. We use bottle caps and we spray painted them black and just kind of inserted them into the eyes here. So these are bottle caps that we've given slightly gold tint to the eyes to make them glimmer a little bit more, but it's basically just spray painted black off of a water bottle. And the nose and the mouth are sculpted out of Sculpey that we basically just dry in an oven. You sculpt them, dry them in an oven, and then just paint them over and glue them on. And his head is built up with foam. That's all of it's basically just a mask underneath with foam built around that we laid the fur over. And it looks pretty good in the end. You can't really see any area where it's uncovered. So that's all you really need to make sure you get done is make that it's completely covered and that you're not missing any spots. The teeth are built the same way as the mouth and the nose with Sculpey, and we had some people help us sew on the fur. Here's a finished Ewok head from a different Ewok, and that's one of the first generation Ewoks from the first group. And when they went down to the Redwood Forest to get a picture of the Ewoks in the actual filming location of Endor from Return of the Jedi, they met rangers there who were really interested in it, and the White House blog actually picked up a picture that they took there, and it's on the White House blog on their website, an actual picture of all their Ewoks. So the first time around there were like 9 people building Ewoks, I think, and then the second time around there were maybe 10, and it's basically grown. We have like 17 Ewoks or something crazy in the group, and we've gotten them all together at different points, but we have the process here of sewing all the foam together. The body is made up of foam. The inside is just a PVC pipe built body, and then you attach the head, which is built around a foam mannequin head. that you attach the mask on, and then build up the fur around, along with like soccer balls in the back to make the head better shaped. And then the body all foam. And once you finish, you can put on the fur that you have sewed together in certain ways. And it's basically just like a foam person that you put fur clothes on. And we could take these off basically whenever we want. But I can take the head off really quick to show you what that looks like actually. So you can see the piping on the inside is there with the foam. And his arm is built out of PVC pipe, but also with some different cables and cords to make it more posable. And so on the inside you can see it's basically just foam layers that kind of fill the body out. But it's mostly just PVC pipe and fur. So that's how that works. And then under this, you can see if you lift up the hood, the mannequin head that we built around, and then you cut a hole in so that it sticks onto the neck. And then the foam that's built around that, the fur put over, and you put the hood over. And that's basically completes the whole thing. I think we can pass the head around if you guys want to look at it closer. So here's this. Yeah, you can feel it's not very heavy, and even the body isn't very heavy. You can lift that up pretty easily. So they're lightweight and they're super fun to make. So basically, that's mostly the whole process. Did any of you see the evening magazine bit that we did? Cool. Yeah. Evening magazine got interested in it, and we did a whole segment at the founder's house, showing off the Ewoks and different things like that. If you haven't seen it, it's online. You can check it out at on my Facebook page. I've posted a link. I think it's on King 5 Evening online. So yeah, that's mainly the process that goes into making an Ewok. Are there any questions about the Ewok? Yeah.
I actually got 2 questions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
are you guys gonna start doing other models or something and stuff like that?
Other characters and things?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were thinking, they're from the 1986 cartoon, there are these characters called the Dulocs, and we thought it would be fun to kind of make an enemy for the Ewoks. But they're very cartoony. They kind of look like really thin versions of the Grinch. So that would be kind of difficult to make. But we do want to try to build maybe a Gonk Droid to make Gary the Gonk Droid too. That's more just our project though. And Chewbacca is still the main goal, but we don't think it's ever going to happen. But yeah, we're pretty preoccupied with building more Ewoks right now. So that's mostly it.
And I actually heard you mention a lot of your videos.
Mm-hmm.
And that you mentioned like the droid club, the droid building club.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any ties to that or something?
You know what? Right to your right here in the black. You can definitely talk to him about that. He's built his own astromech droid, and it's rolling around.
Yeah, we can talk to you afterward.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
If you're interested, the R2 builders are going to be doing a presentation tomorrow at 4 o'clock.
So yeah, definitely talk to him about that. Yeah.
So I'm looking at it, trying to, he kind of has that little stern, angry look.
Oh yeah.
And is that because of the darker color in the middle, or what? How did you guys get it to?
Most of that is the foam. The way that we built the foam, we kind of wanted him to look a little bit fiercer. But it also comes down to the placement of the fur. Because the way that we had it, we bought 2 different types of fur. We bought the gray fur, which we thought was nice but didn't have enough detail, and then we bought this white fur, this kind of light gray fur that has the darker inside tone. And when you cut the strips and you place it in the right way, you can kind of make this brow here look much more defined than it really is. So it helps that the forehead is kind of built out like that. But yeah, I mean, you can really kind of form the head any way you want. To give it different expressions. There's someone in the group who's built like a warrior Ewok with an eye patch, and he's all like decked out in this warrior gear. So yeah, I mean, it's all depends on how you want to build it, but I think this was mostly the foam and the placement of the fur. Yeah. Any other questions? All right. That's basically it. If you guys want to watch any more, well, we've been to lots of events with the Ewoks too. You might have seen us at the Mariners, or we were here last month for Star Wars Reads Day. We were at this Barnes & Noble. But if you want to figure out where the Ewoks are, we have my StarGeek business cards, and then we also have the Ewok Builders Club business cards, so you can check out and follow us on social media on all of the platforms that we have there. So yeah, I think that's basically it. We're about on time. If you guys want to watch another video, we have more videos, and I'll just be walking around if you want to talk too. So thank you so much. This has been a lot of fun.
Being here, Krister.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great.
Thank you.
Awesome.